Hi, friends, and welcome to Peace Here. I'm your host, Avis Kalfsbeek. This is another episode in the Wolff Peace series, a journey through Robert Paul Wolff's 1966 anthology, Political Man and Social Man. In each episode, we pair one of the great political thinkers from Wolff's book with someone who lived peace as a daily radical practice. Together, they help us explore the tension between power and principle and what peace truly requires. The thinker, Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE. Today's thinker is Aristotle, one of the foundational figures in Western philosophy and political theory. In his text, Politics, Aristotle asserts that man is by nature a political animal. To him, humans reach their highest potential not in isolation, but in community, in the polis or city-state. Aristotle believed that the good life, or eudaimonia, human flourishing, depends on civic participation. The purpose of politics, he argued, is not to secure power or wealth, but to cultivate virtue in citizens. For a city to flourish, its people must be educated, not just in knowledge, but in the habits of justice, friendship, and shared purpose. But, and this is crucial, Aristotle's polis was exclusive. Women, slaves, and non-Greeks were denied political participation. So while his vision of education for civic virtue remains compelling, it also invites serious questions about inclusion. Peace Pairing, Malala Yousafzai, born 1997. To extend and challenge Aristotle's idea of the political animal, we turn to Malala Yousafzai, activist, Nobel laureate, and global voice for girls' education. Born in Pakistan's Swat Valley, Malala began speaking publicly about girls' right to education at age 11. When she was just 15, she was shot in the head by a Taliban gunman for defying their ban on girls attending school. She survived, and she became stronger. Malala's peace is defiant and bold. She frames education not just as a personal right, but as a form of political participation, a way to shape the polis from within. She once said, "One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world." Malala fights not only for access to education, but for its power to shape citizens capable of justice, dignity, and freedom. Aristotle taught us that politics is the arena in which human beings become their best selves. Malala shows us that education is the key to entering that arena, especially for those historically excluded. Together they ask us, who gets to be part of the polis? And what does it take to educate for peace? Your peace questions to ponder. Big picture. Do you agree with Aristotle that human beings are meant to live politically, that is, in community with shared goals? What happens when certain groups are excluded from that vision? Day-to-day life. How do you stay engaged in your community, not just in protest or critique, but in building something better? That concludes this episode of Peace is Here. You can learn more at aviskalfsbeek.com, where I share updates on this podcast and my books. I write best friend activist short fiction in the Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, eco-adventure novellas for readers who care about justice, joy, and saving the world one story at a time. And I'd be grateful if you followed my Kickstarter campaign at aviskalfsbeek.com/Kickstarter. Coming up next, more thinkers, more peace pairings, and more bold questions from the Wolff Peace series. This episode is human narrated by me, but created with the help of AI, which has promised to let me know if it makes something up. So far, no confessions. But if you believe I've missed something, or if you just want to say hello, I'd love to hear from you. Podcast music is Dalai Lama Riding a Bike by Javier Peque Rodriguez. You'll find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, it really helps me if you subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. A quick rating or review helps others discover peaceful, independent storytelling. And if you have a project that can use a calm, peaceful narrator, My cloned voice, Amaya Calm, is now available in the 11 Labs voice library. AMAYA Calm. The voice is designed to support storytelling that promotes peace and dignity. You can even have Amaya Calm read to you using the 11 Labs Reader app. She sounds like this. Peace is not something you wish for. It's something you make, something you do, something you are, and something you give away. John Lennon. If you haven't used 11 Labs yet, it helps me if you use the link in the show notes below. The link is try.11labs.io/peace, and 11 Labs is spelled out. I'll earn a small affiliate payment which supports my creative projects focused on peace. I'm Avis Kalfsbeek. Thank you again. Until next time, listen for the peace.